I was going to read the one about this summer. I went to Europe and I went to Spain and I did the Running of the Bulls. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what the Running of the Bulls is, but I was going to read that, but I have no ending to the story. That's the only thing. I have no ending. I haven't written the very end of the story. So how about this? How about I'll read that, and then where it abruptly ends, I'll just kind of go off the top of my head. I don't know if you guys, did any of you guys go to Warped Tour this year? And I don't know if any of you guys got to see me or where. I'm sorry. Oh no, it's probably for the best. I know. I couldn't. I had to work. So for those of you who did see me on Warped Tour, I don't know if you guys did. I told a story, but I told it from the top of my head about passion, about what passion means to me, and about how I had an idea of something that I really wanted to do. A long time ago, I don't know if any of you guys have my book, but I wrote a story about how I confronted my father. My father and I don't get along. He's a bad person. I think that you can be related to bad people. I don't think that everybody inherently is a good person. You know, and people are like, you know, like Anne Frank is notorious for saying, and after everything, I still believe that people are all good at heart. I don't believe that. Call me a pessimist, I say it's a realist thing. I think there's genuinely bad people out there. I think that most people in this world are good people and they're good-hearted, and I think that there's plenty of good people who do bad things, but I think that there's people out there who are bad people who have the ability to do good things, but are just genuinely rotten and terrible people on the inside that are toxic, and sometimes you happen to be related to them. People who beat and sexually molest their children, people who take advantage of others, people who kill people. Yes, I believe that those people are terrible people. You know, I mean, if you want to call me a pessimist because of that, that's fine. But and just so happens, one of the first people that I've managed to meet in my life that I find is a genuinely bad person on the inside is my father. We're cool. I mean, it's not like I have like this crazy like, oh, my father, I got daddy issues. I just realized that, you know, one day, like I did have, I had this animosity towards him all my life, you know, because he wasn't really there. And then I finally confronted him when I was an adult, and I saw, I don't know if you guys have my book, but I wrote a story about it. And in the end of the book, I talk about how I confront my father at this funeral. And when I walked into the funeral, like I sat there and all I wanted to do was punch his face. All I wanted to do was punch his face. But as I stood there and he talked to me, I kind of realized, wow, you're just a dude. You're just a kid who grew up who made bad choices. You know, like he was never taught the right thing to do. He didn't know how to treat people. He abused everyone in my family, took advantage of everything. My mother, who's a saint, ended up getting her thrown in jail, having to use my college fund to bail her out, which I never got back, you know what I'm saying? Or I wouldn't be still paying off, you know, student loans for PG school. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and what I realized is at that moment that it was a moment of clarity, what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity, where I realized that, wow, you're just a person who made a lot of bad decisions, and I don't hate you anymore because I realized that, you know, it is your fault because you're a grown-ass man, but it's not your fault because of the circumstances and the opportunities that weren't afforded to you. So I kind of made peace with that, and I did it by myself. And I walked into a funeral where I hadn't seen people on that side of the family for over 10 years. And it was something that I realized. I got home and I was smiling, and I couldn't figure out why I was smiling. It was such a terrible thing, and I was shaking. I wanted to fight him so badly, because like, you know, you see your dad growing up, and then when I saw him, I was like, man, that dude came up to here on me, and he had a ponytail. I was like, dude, I could kick your ass right now, and for real. I'm spitting all over the place. Anyways. And so, but it was awesome to be able to make peace with that. And I looked at him, and when he didn't know what to say anymore, he kind of paused, and I looked at him and I said, you know what, Dad? Take care of yourself. I really want you to take care of yourself. And I hugged him. And I never thought that I could ever hug that man, ever again. But I hugged him because I wanted to let that go. And by hugging him, and by giving, and it's so much easier to hate something. It's so much easier to be negative and to be a pessimist. And it's hard to let go of something. It's hard to let go of that hate. And I hugged him, and when I hugged him, it let go of it. And now I can talk about it openly, and it doesn't bother me. And now I've made peace with that. And what's great about that is once I got home, I started smiling, and I wrote about it because I didn't want to forget that moment. And when I wrote about it, I couldn't realize why was I so happy. And I realized that wow, I have the ability to do pretty much anything. If you would have told me the night before that, what's the most difficult thing in your life that you will ever do, I could have said, oh man, I could be a doctor before I'd ever confront my father. And I confronted him and I realized, wow, I have this ability. I have this ability. You have this ability. Everybody in this room has this ability to do all the things that they think that they can't. You know? But you never know because you never put yourself in that position because you always stay in a comfortable zone and you never take yourself outside of that comfort zone, ever. And the thing is that the only way that you make strides and progress in your life is by taking yourself out of that and throwing yourself in the deep end of life and realizing just what you're made of. So, tangent, told you I'm coming back around.